All right, sweet. We're gonna keep this rolling. All right. I'm super excited for this next one. I'm gonna ask a couple questions real quick before we get rolling. How many of you guys in here have a team now? Okay. How many of you guys have made a whole lot of mistakes in building your team? It's almost more hands than if you had a team. How many of you guys have built a team and it's completely imploded and you just said, F this, I'm going back to solo? Okay, cool. So the next guy who's coming up here, I'm really excited for this one. Alan has sold over $3 billion in his career. $3 billion with a B in his career. And he's going to come up here today and share with you, knowing everything he knows, having done this for 30 years, selling $3 billion here in San Diego. If I was going to build a team today, here's how I would build it. Alan Shafran, it's all you.
Is this on? Yeah. Thanks for dating me, Kyle. I appreciate it. Yeah, speaking of which, his speech was great today, and something really resonated with me from his speech. And that was maybe all the people that have been to jail in this room? Committed felonies? So here's an exercise maybe, look left, look right, and then check your front pocket, right? Make sure it's still there. Just kidding, just kidding. All right, I brought my notes because I'm not as good as everybody here on this stuff, and I want to make sure I hit as many topics as I can for you. What I'm going to do is something topical. There's been different styles and different approaches here, and so I'll get less into the details, and if anyone has questions afterwards, happy to help out. But I want to talk about sort of the topics of 5 or 6 different areas that we should have a goal of mastering if you want to build an amazing team. It's not easy. We're surrounded by terrific people and people that have set some great records in this room. So I've seen teams, I used to do coaching, I used to do different things. I've seen teams come and go. I've seen teams created and built die in 2 months, die in 2 years, die in 7 years, and then we've seen some amazing things happen. So I think today, if we realize sort of what it takes from a top-down level, maybe we have a better chance. We know what we're getting ourselves into. So my mission today is, if you want to be one of those teams, one of these amazing team leaders here, think about the different things, go deeper, think deeper, and really give it everything you've got. So I don't know where the controller is. Is this it? I was told don't hit this one. Don't hit this one. Okay, and we'll go one more. All right, know your why. Okay, so know your why. Super important. Coaching was always fun for me. Finding somebody who wants to say, I want to sell $500 million in real estate. Why? No idea. They want to see their name in lights. Some of you can relate to this. I'm going to go really quickly, right? You need to know your why, because there's going to be rough days, rough years, rough periods. You're going to work 7 days a week, 16 hours a day. And wasn't it great when James Clear earlier, who's amazing, by the way, unbelievable, and he said it he talks about passion. Right? If you have the passion, you're going to be able to work those 7 days a week, 16 hours a day, and not feel like that. Not in the beginning. Give it a year. It might change a little bit. But knowing your why, is it to be famous, I wrote down? Is it to be rich? Be honest with yourself. Is it profitability? Is it because you want to have that flexible schedule? Anyone heard that one before? Don't have to work much. It's real estate. I can go when I want, how I want, wherever I want. Is it because the success buys you freedom for you, your family, your loved ones? Is it because you love nice things, Ferraris, watches, all those things? That's fine. There's no wrong answer. Is it because you love helping people? You want to help clients, you want to help other team members, you want to help yourself in the process? You're going to hear me say it a million different times today. Well, maybe not a million, but sustainability. How do we do this and have it be something that benefits you, your team, the people around you 10, 20, 30 years from now? Maybe it goes to your kids. Maybe it goes after that. So you can accomplish something pretty amazing if you take this seriously enough. So you're going to keep hearing me talk about sustainability. That didn't work. Oh, it might be done. Okay. Here, take a picture of that slide. I'm watching all you guys from the back, right? Actually, I love this one. I'll tell you why. Like, when I grew up, 10 years old, and I'm hearing all the stories, the fables, the different things, right? 10 years old, you're hearing, birds of a feather flock together. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Right? And guess what? I have 2 daughters. Birds of a feather flock together means something different to me today, right? They're like dating another guy, and I'm like, wait a second, I know what flock that guy comes from. And you ain't flying with that fucking flock. Okay? So it means something, right? Tortoise and the hare. Who's heard that one before? If you haven't, get out, honestly. You're too young. Too young. Too young. Tortoise and the hare, it's a race, right? They take off. The hare's just like gone. Racing fast. Runs out of fuel, runs out of money, runs out of energy, has to sleep, take a break, is arrogant because things are going too fast. Tortoise, just going along. Year after year, year after year. Hare probably does 2-3 circles about it. I think that relates to us in real estate. I really, really do, because we're challenged by it and we're competitive people. I wrote down like how many people at some point in time you felt like the tortoise. And you didn't know it at the time because you just had your biggest month. You sold 2 deals, 4 deals, 6 deals, 8 deals, 10 deals, 20 deals, whatever you sold, you're like, hell yeah, nailed it. And then there's your freaking competitor, the hare. Like 20 deals. You're like, shit. Okay, this month I sold 20 deals. The hare, 40 deals. I'm a failure. And then you break everything and have to start over. So I'm here to remind you, it's your race. Nobody else is invited. And what you should feel confident about is that running it your way, you can win it. Just make sure it's your race. Don't let the distractions come in and around you. It reminds me of a story when I was 19, and this is just a little over 5 years ago. But when I was 19, I was set up with a, thanks Kyle. I was set up with a mentor, and the mentor was probably worth about $50 million at that time. So, all right, I'll date myself again. It's probably worth about $300-400 million today, right? And I'm sitting down with this guy, and I think I'm a young hot shot. You're 19. Do you remember what, like 19, right? You think you know everything. You're sitting down in front of him, and he says, Alan, what's your goal? And I'm like, I'm going to nail this, right? I'm at his desk. It's just like, it was a rare honor to be with him. I said, I want to be number 1. And he sits back, and I'm like, I nailed it. This guy is going to like hire me for something. And he goes, that is the dumbest thing I have ever heard. Honestly, the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I was like, shh. I didn't even know what to say. Like, I was dumbfounded. He goes, you can't control being number 1. There's no meaning behind it. You can't control it. You don't know where you're going, what you're doing. How do you control number 1? So you go do this, you control what other people are doing? You can't. It's your race. You have to have your journey. So in the process, if you have big goals, that's great. Do they make sense? Can you achieve them? And as you achieve your goals, yeah, some of your competitors are going to beat you a few years, and you learn and you grow. And then every now and then, you're going to hit the number 1 spot because maybe you had an amazing year, or maybe your competitors had a tough year. Maybe the market shifted. Maybe things changed. It happens in real estate, right? Some years we have like all the big dollar homes sell, where you have the number 1 producer like in San Diego that sells 2 homes at $500 million each. It just happens. It happens rarely, but it happens. And then you have other ones. So you have different scenarios that take place. So your job is to follow your path, right? And make sure that it's your race in the end. And I say enjoy the journey. Okay, leadership. Gosh. Like, I'm hearing this stuff, right? It's all pre-planned, but you're hearing the same topics from a lot of people because they're all right. Leadership. Leadership is critical. Uh-oh, slides are screwed up. Now I'm going to go backwards one. I may have missed one. All right. Leadership. It's the number 1 common thread I wrote down between all of the best teams in the country. And I wrote down some things that I think they have in common. And obviously there's a lot, but some of you I think will appreciate this because it can give you an immediate goal to strive for. They are all started out at one point or another, they became masters at sales and real estate transactions. Masters. What does it mean? They built the base of skill sets in the area of communicating, prospecting, generating leads, following up on leads, appointment setting, contract signing, problem solving, money management, human management. It's easy, right? It's not. It's not, but they did it. When they did this, it gave them the innate ability as they're growing to both help their team members, their company, see the holes, see the sales problems, recognize where there's a blockage. Why are we getting these leads but we're not converting? Why are we converting but not closing? Where are we losing different things? You can't do that, in our opinion, without creating this. And this also reminds me, because I was on a mastermind with some of the people in this group, and this guy's awesome, and you might know him, his name's Kyle, but he did come up and we were talking about PPC, and we're talking about texts and campaigns and what's effective, and came out and he said, look, you can get the campaigns, you can get the text, but you can't just take it out of the box and plug it into your system. I recommend, as the leader, that you sit down, you go over, you humanize it, you make it work for your client, your database, your marketplace, your leads, your team. You have to do the work, otherwise you can't always tell. And team leaders have learned how to lead with strength and without the wrong ego. We all have ego. That's important. We're in competitive business. I get it. But you want to build a team, you've got to learn when to put that in your back pocket and help everyone else climb and reach their goals too. So that's important. And I see that time and time again. Now, I don't know if we missed a slide, because I'm going to jump back one, maybe two. But I'm going to talk about money management for a second. It's a tough one. Everyone loves it. It's like the most worst hated topic ever, and it is critical, absolutely critical. And I'll talk about it again from a top-down perspective. So I wrote a couple things down. As an individual agent, do enough real estate transactions that you pay off all of your extraneous debt. You can have some debt. Business debt is good. But make sure you pay off the debt, because that is going to teach you how to grow. Credit cards, equity lines, learn how to pay taxes. I didn't learn how to pay taxes my first year. I was automatically in $30,000 of debt when I was 19 years old. Didn't understand it. Cursed my parents. It was their fault. But the habit of managing your debt and keeping a profit is going to pay you massive dividends from a smaller place up to a huge place. So imagine running 80 agents, 100 agents, 14 agents, whatever it is. If you understand it here, you will understand it there. If you don't understand it here, guess what? You're one of those teams that might be out of business in 2 years, right? Do the basics, do the work. Pay yourself first. Robert Kiyosaki. So I've consulted, been exposed to, been part of organizations that have tons of different industries. You know how many companies I see in business 5, 10, 15 years? The owners never learned how to pay themselves. They figured out how to run the company. They figured out how to pay the company. They figured out how to keep the doors open, but they never got anywhere beyond that. Now, I did see a couple of them learn it. When they learned it, they had these aha moments. You should have those aha moments now. Do it now before it gets to that place where you have to reverse it, because reversing it's very, very difficult. Here's the kicker. You manage all this stuff. You do this stuff right. Then what happens is every year your net worth goes up a little bit, profitability may go up a little bit, and then time, year after year, and all of a sudden you wake up, you're a multimillionaire. And then what happens, guys? This is exciting, right? You get exponential opportunities. What does that mean? Someone approaches you, an opportunity approaches you, something happens, and you get to go click, click, click. You couldn't do that unless you did this. So do the work, do that part right. Option 2, ready? This part's fun. Don't do that. Fly by the seat of your pants. Bullshit everyone around you into joining you, right? Have the BS called, constantly break and rebuild. I like option 1. It's a little bit better. Okay, I think I missed the slide, but there's an important one that I wrote down here. How much time do I have, guys? Oh, okay, plenty of time. All right. This is a funny one for me. It's study people management skills. Oh, we do have the slide. Just been jumping around. Studying the people management skills. Man, God, am I good at this? I'm being sarcastic, right? It's a couple of friends here who know, right? I wrote it down. I know that most top producing agents, I think I heard a couple people talking or making fun of them earlier, are amazing managers, right? Amazing, amazing, so good. They're patient, always happy, train and reinforce regularly, memories like an elephant's, never break their promises, Do not walk around with like an air of stress and emotions just dripping like from their body, right? Wrong. That's exactly who we are. So in today's world and building that team, running 80 people or 20 people or even 10 people, like you gotta get better at this. 10, 20 years ago, it's just the story that it reminds me of. I was in business with a buddy, and it was like back then we're expanding the office. We just needed to fill the receptionist spot, right? There was a spot for the receptionist. It's where everyone walked in. It took us like 3 months to find somebody. We were already expanding, so it wasn't easy. We wanted minimum wage person to come in there. Finally found somebody that we thought, okay, this person has all their teeth. It's wonderful. Like that's a bonus. So we're not going to look completely ridiculous when they walk into the office, and we're great. So let's say that took 2 or 3 months, took us another month of training. So I'm walking in and out of the office, and she's reading Vogue magazine. Day one, I'm like, okay, that's a fluke. That won't happen again. She's working her ass off. Day 2, it was Vogue again. Day 3, I decided to let my people management skills take over. I'm like, hey, can you do some work for a change? Let's talk about this later. See you at 3. So later on that night, after she quit, my partner came up and he said, maybe I'll handle that side of the story, right? So back then, I didn't take courses along these lines. Even 10 years ago, and Sarah's here who works for our company somewhere, like we were paying for courses to help us grow and try and get better at this with people. Today, it's all over the place, and it's free. The education's free. The winning is in the cognizance of the need for it. So you need it. So learn it, implement it, learn the discipline. Try and avoid the one thing that causes months, years, weeks, hours of work to just go away like that. Super important. How many people can relate to that? Right? Okay. 2 more topics, because this is so easy. Infrastructure. So now I say, okay, you've got all these skill sets done. Infrastructure, where do you want to go? You've heard from different teams today. Do you want 3 people on your team? Do you want 80 people on your team? Do you want 100 people on your team? But make it work on paper. Make it work on paper. It needs to work on paper first. It needs to make sense on paper first, because guess what? Life's going to throw a few curves at you. If it doesn't work here, it ain't going to work there. So start off. Build it so that it works with 5 times your goal. So if you want to have 2 agents, build your infrastructure so that it works with, 2 times 5, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So go there. Before hiring multiple agents, think about the costs and functions. How many admin do you need? What do they do? How much are they going to cost? It's important to know about it today because it's changing on a regular basis. And you have options today. In-house admin, you can outsource. There's places for both. Your lead sources, your follow-up systems, your training systems, your office space. Are you remote or are you going to keep office space? Both work. Are you local? Are you national? As far as a team, we're seeing all kinds of different options today being built. Like I'm being exposed to stuff today that I'm in awe of, that people are bringing in different scenarios. There is not one way to skin this cat. So you have to think about what's right for you. Lastly, after you do all of that, now start bringing in the production. The agents, your team members, the splits. It's got to work. Everybody wants more, but the team has to work. And as a leader and as building the team, you have to do the right thing to know, okay, I got to pay taxes, I got to pay all these bills. We talked about paying ourselves. We also have to reinvest in the company. Are we thinking about all of this? Can the company make money with this? Is this fair? Can we do it? Because you're not doing anyone any favors if you're paying too much and putting your team out of business, right? So you have to look at the whole thing and go and make it work here. Put all this together, make sure it works on paper. The more you have planned, the more sustainability you're going to have. And it's okay to be nimble because this thing changes on us every year. Technology is everything. And the last piece, there isn't an order. This can all kind of be done together. Build and grow your team, the sales team, right? That's the easiest part. Because we all know that more bodies equals more deals. Does anybody not know how sarcastic I am anymore? Like I'm just trying to see if you're paying attention here. That's debatable. Everyone's a little bit different. So for us, we do the amount of business we do, and we do it with roughly, I would say, 6 to 7 agents at most as far as production. In order for 6 to 7 agents to do that, we typically have about 11 to 12 on our team. And it ranges a little bit, right? But so our numbers right now, and hopefully it changes, we're always looking to improve, but it's always about 50%. And it's just normal, because we'll have people on the team, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna kill it, I'm gonna make it this year. And then they get derailed. That's normal, it's life, right? We have things like divorce, we have health problems, we have all kinds of things that take people on and off track. That's just the statistics and what happens there. So for you, hire based on reaching your goals, right? And I wrote this down here, take your time in hiring. You might have heard this before, hire slow, fire fast. It's a hard thing to do. Hire slow, fire fast. Okay, it's very, very difficult. Many ways to skin the cat. Try and figure out what your agents can handle, how your team does that. How many leads can your team handle at a time? How many can an individual handle at a time? How many follow-up? I think this is an interesting conversation, and we've dealt this with our team. We actually had an open topic. So let's say you have a database of thousands of people. We actually narrowed it down at one point with all of the team on board, believe it or not. So think for a second. How many leads do you think you can actually handle? Follow up, track, go along those lines that you're committed to, right? How many do you think someone else can handle? We got it down to this number that everyone was excited about. 25. 25. Above that, we started to have real failure systems. Now, maybe we need to improve our systems, which we do. I'm always looking to improve that. Or we need more team members because we can't have that kind of a lack of absorption rate with our team database. But that's what we figured out. So what is it for you? Everyone's a little bit different. Everyone wants to work a little bit different. Everyone has a different effort. And everyone has different systems and styles. 20 years ago, I was a hard ass, believe it or not. Like, it's going to be this way. We're going to get in the office. We're going to telemarket. We're going to do all this. This is the way we do it. There is no other way, and this is the way it goes. How many deals you want to do? Well, Alan, I want to do 5 deals. No, you don't. You want to do 36. That's your goal. But I don't care. That's your goal. Right. Okay. So guess what? Having daughters changes you. So, right now we really try and work on what's your goal? Does your goal work with our goal? Right? And we work really hard. And we're always trying to grow. And then you have scenarios which has come full circle. So I'd say 10, 15 years ago, I really kind of loosened the reins a little bit. We kind of let go. We're trying to figure things out. We're always trying to make changes and adjustments. And Zillow Flex comes into play. So Zillow, multi-billion-dollar firm, micromanaging the heck out of us, for those who know it, right? So our attitude was either to fight it, or our attitude was to grow from it. We decided to grow from it because it is a multi-billion-dollar firm. They have something to teach us. And so we're getting back to this, management where we're trying to combine both like, hey, what's the pipelines? What's going on? How are you doing this? And we are learning, okay, so this is what you can handle. Let's put you over here. This is what you want to handle. Let's put you over here. I guess my point is you're always going to learn. You're always going to change. You're always going to grow. So with all of these challenges, if you think about the topics that we discussed, they're all very pertinent. So for the leaders that are in this room that accomplished all those things, I wish you all congratulations and success. This crowd is an amazingly productive crowd, really, really talented here, very impressive. And for the rest of you, thanks for listening to me, and I wish you an incredibly successful 2023. Thank you.